Hello, this is Mr. Toops. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do one of my fancy videos, so we're just going to go through and learn how to do Star Review 11. Okay, so number one, we're going to graph x less than or equal to 2. Okay, so since this has x, we're going to go over here and write vux. That means we have an x equal line. The v means vertical, and we know that it's going to cross the x at 2. So I'm going to go here, put a dot at 2, and draw a vertical line through that dot. Now then, look at the symbol. The slope, the U stands for undefined. If we wrote down hoi, we would have a 0 slope, wouldn't we? And then it says x less than or equal to 2. Since it's less than, we're going to shade to the left. So draw arrows to the left. Okay, the next line, I'm going to switch colors. We're going to do y greater than or equal to negative 2x minus 2. The number in front of the x is a slope, so I'm going to put negative 2, and I'm going to make it a fraction, negative 2 over 1, and the negative 2 is my y-intercept. So this line will go down to right 1, and we're going to start off at negative 2. So I'm going to go over here, put a dot at negative 2, and my slope tells me to go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, and then I'm going to go backwards. Up 2 left 1, up 2 left 1, up 2 left 1, up 2 left 1, and I'm going to connect those. Okay, now then remember, we have y on the left. If you have y, you're either going to shade up or down. So right here we have greater than, we're going to shade up on number 2. On number 3, we have less than, we'll shade down. So this line is going to get shaded up. So right now, the points that work are to the left of the red line and above the green line. All these points over here on the left of the green line will not work. Now then, let's go to the next one. I'm going to switch colors again. My slope is 1/2, and my y-intercept is positive 3. So I'm going to start at the 3 and then go up 1, right 2. So I'm going to put a dot at the 3, go up 1, right 2, and repeat the process. That's my constant rate of change. Going backwards would be down and left. And then I'm going to connect the dots. And this line would be shaded down. So all of the points in the triangle would work. Don't do it real lightly, but all of these dots would work in the triangle, okay? So the ordered pairs that will work are going to be the points in the triangle. Now then, the base of the triangle, let's talk about the base and the height. This edge would be the base. It goes from 6 to negative 4. It's going to be 10 units long. So the base is 10, and from the top to the bottom, that's going to be our height. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. The height's going to be 4. And this is, look at the slopes, negative 2 over 1 and 1/2. They're opposite reciprocals, aren't they? If the slopes are opposite reciprocals, it's going to form a right angle. That angle is a 90-degree angle, so this is a right triangle. Okay, the area of the triangle is going to be base times height, so it's going to be 1/2 times 10 times 4, or you could do 10 times 4 divided by 2. Either one of those is going to give you the area. I'm going to let you do that on your own. The ordered pairs of number 2 and number 3 cross at what ordered pair? This ordered pair would be negative 2, 2. Now then, we're going to graph the dots and find out which ones work. If I were to graph over 1, up 1, that dot is in the triangle. It works. If I were to graph negative 2, negative 1, it's right here. It does not work. It's not inside the triangle. If I were to graph negative 1, 2, it's right here. That's inside the triangle. It works. If I were to graph 2, 4, over 2, up 4, it's right on the edge. It would work because it's an equal to on the lines. The lines are solid. And lastly, negative 4, 2 is right here. It would not work with it. Okay, so these 3 would work. This one's kind of tricky. If you were with me in class, I did not include that one, but it would work because it's on the vertice. Let's go to number 9. Now then, on number 9, I just taught you how to do this without drawing. So we're going to do it without drawing. First off, this minus is going to bluebell truck. So we need to write down the problem. 1x squared plus 4x minus 3 minus 2x squared minus 2x plus 5. So I'm going to single underline the x squares, double underline the x's, and triple underline the constants. Now then I need to do the single underlines. I'm going to do 1 minus 2, that's going to be negative 1 x squared, and I don't have to put the 1, do I? So I'm just going to have negative x squared, and then my double underlines are 4 and 2, 4 and negative 2. 4 minus 2 is a positive 2, the letter is x. And then my triple underlines are negative 3 plus 5. These are shaded, these are open. I got more open. 3 away from 5 is 2 plus 2. This polynomial and these polynomials would be equivalent. That's what's going to be on your star. Let's do number 10. We got 3 rectangles, or 3 squares, and then a rectangle and 2 shaded squares. Now then I'm going to draw my answer rectangle. Then I'm going to slice it up. And then a positive times a negative is shaded. These would be shaded, wouldn't they? Okay, so my answer rectangle has 3 rectangles, 3x, and 6 shaded squares minus 6. Ho, 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 ho. Let's go to number 10. X plus 2 times x plus 4. So I'm going to do my x plus 2, and then x and plus 4. Draw your answer rectangle, and then slice it up. This one's pretty easy because everything's open, everything's going to be positive. So my answer is going to be 1 big x squared. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rectangles plus 6x. And then I got 8 squares plus 8. These two expressions would be equivalent. Let's go to number 10 or number 11. I have x minus 2. Draw 2 shaded. And then another x minus 2. What's going to happen here? Okay, so once you have it drawn, you draw your answer rectangle. Then you slice it up. A negative times a positive is a negative. A negative times a positive is a negative. A negative times a negative is a positive. These will all be positive, and these two are going to be shaded also, right? Now then, let's count up our answer. We have 1 big square, so that's x squared. We have 4 shaded rectangles minus 4x, and then we have 4 open squares plus 4. That's going to be our answer. Number 12. Okay, on number 12, remember, you need to graph this and then hit Control T and get these answers. So we need to graph x squared minus 5x plus 4. So I'm going to go to graph, and then I need to graph x squared minus 5x plus 4. Let me make sure that's right. X squared minus 5x plus 4 is right. And then I'm going to hit enter. This is the graph. Remember, I taught you this week, this is a quadratic because of the x squared. It's a second power polynomial. Then I'm going to hit Control T. And right over here are my answers. I'm going to hit the up button once. So my 0 is 4, the 1, 0. These numbers right here would go in your answers, okay? So I'm going to go to the worksheet. So the 0 was 4, the 1 was 0. You got negative 2, and another 0. These numbers right here would be your zeros, wouldn't they? And those are the x-intercepts. Don't ever forget that the 0 is an x-intercept. Fun, fun, fun. Let's go to number 11. Or number 13, I'm sorry. Number 13. Remember, the formula for this is y minus y1 equals in parentheses x minus x1. This is my y, this is my x. This right here would be my slope, wouldn't it? So the slope's 1/4. To write the ordered pair, when you put them in or take them out, you flip it. The opposite of plus 5 is a negative 5. The opposite of plus 2 is negative 2. So this line would go through that point and go up 1, right 4. Please don't forget that. Now then, remember on this, I'm going to put this over here, and we're going to solve it for y. The x flips and the y goes on the bottom. So negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 12, and then the y goes on the bottom. The two negatives make a positive, and then this is going to be minus 6. This right here is my slope, and it's these two numbers in it. Notice that this is the top number, this is the denominator, and the negative is going to flip. Your b is always opposite your slope. So my slope's going to be 3 over 2, and then my x-intercept, if I take the 12 and divide it by 3, I get my x-intercept. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. My y-intercept is 12 divided by negative 2, which is going to be negative 6. Don't forget that your standard form gives you the intercepts if you divide. Let's do the next problem. This is a 1. So my slope is going to be 1 over 3, and the opposite of a plus is a minus. So my slope is negative 1 over 3. The x-intercept is going to be 6 divided by 1, which is 6. The y-intercept, 6 divided by 3, which is 2. Don't forget that. That's real important. You need to remember those formulas. Let's go to the next problem. All we want is the slope of the line, but we're also going to get the equation. So the slope, you got to get the grid points. It goes here, 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 and here. And all these points, you're going to go down and over. Since we're going down, the slope's negative. We would go negative 3 over 2, would we? That's my m. This right here is the y-intercept, which is the b in it. So let's write the equation. Y equals, the slope is negative 3 over 2x, and the y-intercept is plus 2. That equation would graph that line. Very, very simple. Let's go to 15. On 15, we're going to put this into a spreadsheet and get the m and the b. So I'm going to go to a spreadsheet. So I'm going to hit home, 1, and then I want to add a spreadsheet, 4. I need to go up here and put my x and my y. Now then I'm going to put my x's in. So I need to get my x's. My x's are 4, 14, and 20. So I'm going to go to the calculator and put 4, 14, and 20. Now then I need to put in my y's. Hopefully I can remember them. 4.9, 13.4, 4.9, and 13.4. And then the last number was 18.5. Okay, so 18.5. Okay, so I got my spreadsheet in. Now then remember, menu 413. Menu, statistics is 4, stat calculations is 1, linear regression is 3, x down, y down, enter. And bam, this right here is my slope. This is my y-intercept. So my slope is 0.85. And my y-intercept is right here, 1.5. Okay, if the dollars are a function of the liver, so the dollars is y, the livers is x, so the slope is going to be 0.85, and it represents $0.85 per liver. Remember, this is always going to be y per x, right? Now, the next thing you got to do is write this equation out. Y equals 0.85x plus 1.5. We want the cost of 25 livers, so we're going to do 0.85 times 25 plus 1.5. Let's put that into the calculator. Okay, so I'm going to hit home, hit calculate, delete that, 0.85 times 25 plus 1.5, enter, oh, not negative, enter, and you get $22.75. So $22.75 would be the cost of 25 livers. Ho, 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 ho. Let's go turn the page. Okay, number 16. On this right here, remember, we're going to write down y equals gx plus s. So if you read this problem, the candle starts off at 15 centimeters. That's our starting number. And this right here is our growing number. Since it's losing height, it's going to be a negative. And this is my starting number, gx plus s, right? And then this right here that describes the height as a function of the time. This is the y, this is the x. So the height is the centimeters, and the time is going to be, what's the time? Hours, right? Okay, so the slope is -3, and it represents 3 centimeters per hour. And it's going to go down 3 centimeters per hour, right? Remember, your starting number is your y-intercept, right? So it's 15, and it represents the initial height, or the starting height, right? On the STAAR test, they'll use initial. And then the x-intercept, how many 3's are in 15? So 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5 in it. In 5 hours, the candle is going to burn out, right? So in 5 hours, there will be no candle if it's losing 3 centimeters each hour. Now then, let's graph this. So the y is going to be centimeters and the x is going to be hours. It starts off at 15 and it ends up at 5 hours. And you're just going to connect the dots because it's continually dropping, right? Put a 0 right here. Okay, we're going to go down to number 21. This would be our domain. This would be our range, wouldn't it? I'm sorry, backwards. This is the range because it's y, and this is our x. This would be our domain, wouldn't it? The domain would go from 0 to 5. So 0 less than or equal to x, less than or equal to 5. And the domain of the function represents the number of hours. Okay, the range goes from 0 to 15, doesn't it? So the range is going to end up at 0, and it starts at 15. The range represents the height of the candle. So the candle will always be between 0 and 15 centimeters, and the time is always going to be between 0 and 5 hours. After 5 hours, the candle burns out. Let's go to number 19. FUN, 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 fun. On these right here, I want you to do InSolve, okay? So you're just going to type these into the calculator. Remember, you're going to hit InSolve, and this is what it's going to look like when you're done. I'm going to do it by hand, but make sure you can use InSolve. So I'm going to bluebell truck the 3. 6x minus 3 plus 5 equals bluebell truck the 6, 6x plus 6. I need to group these numbers. So 6x plus 2 equals 6x plus 6. Now then, if I move this 6x over, the x's cancel out. So I'm going to get 2 equal to 6. 2 is not equal to 6. That's false. So this has no solution. I think if you do InSolve, it's going to give you 0. 0 would be wrong because the x's cancel out. This is tricky, okay? So make sure if you get 0, you got to show your work and make sure that x doesn't cancel out. Now then, let's see, what did I just do? Let's go to the next problem. Let me erase this. Okay, so this right here would be no solution for the top one. And you would get 2 equals 6, right? Which is false. Now then on this one, we're going to cross multiply. So we're going to take the x plus 2 and multiply it by the 4. And we're going to take the 3 and multiply it by the 12. I need to distribute the 4. 4x plus 8 equals 36. Move over the 8. I get 4x equals 28. I'm going to divide by 4, and I'm going to end up with 7. So if you did InSolve on this, you should end up with 7. Okay, let's go to number 20. Okay, write the linear function in slope-intercept form. We need to put this into a spreadsheet, don't we? So we're going to put this into a spreadsheet, and we're going to get our M and our B. So I'm going to go to the calculator. I'm going to hit home, 1. I do not want to save anything. Add a spreadsheet. Put my x and y in. Now then I'm going to put my x's in. My x's are 6 and negative 3. And now I need to put my y's in. My y's are going to be negative 1 and negative 7, right? So negative 1 and negative 7. Now then, menu 413, right? Menu, stat calculation, linear regression, x, down, y, down, and enter. And this right here would be my slope, and this would be my y-intercept. Now then, the slope is a decimal, right? So I don't know that. I know it's 2/3, but you probably don't. We're going to hit Control C to copy. So I've copied this 0.66667. I'm going to hit home in A. I'm going to hit Control V to paste. I got this decimal now. Then menu 2, enter. And bam, I get 2/3. So my slope is 2/3 in it. So I'm going to go back to my paper. My slope is 2/3. I got 2/3 x. And go back to the calculator. What was my y-intercept? And I'm going to hit home. I'm going to click browse, and I'm going to go to that unsaved document. My y-intercept was -5, wasn't it? So I'm going to go to the calculator here, and it's going to be -5. So the m was 2/3, and the b was -5, wouldn't it? That would make your equation. Okay, on the next one, we have a line that's parallel. That means my m is 3/4, and I know my x and my y. I do not know my b. So I'm going to write down y equals mx plus b. I know the m, the x, and the y. I don't know the b. So the y is 3. My m is 3/4 times my x is -12 plus b. I'm going to put that into NSolve and solve for b. So you would put that in for the NSolve, and your answer is going to be y equals 3/4x, and whatever b is goes here. I'm going to do this in my brain. -36 divided by 4 is -9. Move over the -9, you would get 12. So my b is 12. This would be the equation. So I know that this slope won't change because it's parallel. If it were perpendicular, I would flip and change the line, wouldn't I? Which is what we're going to do next. So this one we got perpendicular. So we're going to take 3/2, and we're going to get the perpendicular slope, which is -2/3, right? That's my m. This is my x, this is my y. I need to make this slope intercept, don't I? I'm going to do the same thing. Y equal mx plus b. My y is 2. My new slope is going to be -2/3. My x is 6 plus b. I'm going to put this into NSolve and solve it for b, aren't I? So my new equation is going to be y equal -2/3x. Whatever I get for b goes here. I'm going to do this in my brain. -2 times 6 is -12. -12 divided by 3 is -4. Move over the -4. Plus 4, 2 plus 4 is 6. The y-intercept is going to be 6. This is my new equation. This is a lot of steps. Remember, the slope has to be the same here, and on this it has to be an opposite reciprocal. These are really, really hard to get right. So hopefully we do a lot more of these and you get this down. We're almost done. Number 22. Okay, convert the following description to an algebraic equation and solve it. Lucy Claire is selling Sonic hot cocoa. The size of a cocoa varies directly, which means it's proportional. So we're going to set up a proportion. A 14-ounce soda or cocoa costs $2.52. So I'm going to put ounces over dollars, and I'm going to put 14 over $2.52. Well, let's do this. Let's find out what it cost. So we're going to do dollars over ounces, and we're going to do 2.52 divided by 14, and let's divide that. So 2.5 divided by 14 would be 1, 11, 12. It's going to be 18 cents, I believe. Okay, so 1 ounce costs 18 cents, and I want to buy a 38 ounce, don't I? So I'm going to do 0.81 times 38. You can also get the same answer by doing this, can't you? 38 times 2.5 divided by 14. But if I multiply that out, so I'm going to hit home, go to calculate, and it was 0.18 times 38, and you get $6.84. Jiminy crickets. Yeah, $6.84. I believe that's what I had on the calculator, okay? Fun, fun, fun. We're almost done. Number 23, Silsby Septic, a great place to work. It's giving Jiminy John $200 plus $25 each hour. This is our starting amount. This is our growing amount. So it's 25x plus 200. Meanwhile, Lumberton Lumber is giving Bubba Bob 150 plus 35 each hour. This would be the starting number. This is our growing number. At how many hours will they have the same amount of money? You're going to make them equal to each other. You could put this into insolve and solve for x. Okay, I'm going to solve it. I'm going to move my smallest. Well, let's move the x to the left. So negative 35x, I'm going to get negative 10x. I'm going to move the 200 over here. I'm going to get negative 50. If you divide a negative by a negative, you get a positive. So at 5 hours, they're going to have the same amount of money. You could put this into insolve and solve it for x, okay? And number 24. Line P is parallel to the x-axis. If it's parallel to the x-axis, it's going to be flat. We're going to have a Hoy line. Okay, and it goes through negative 3, 2. So put negative 3, 2 over here. If I draw the line like this, it goes through the x-axis. I need to draw the line like this. It has a slope of 0, doesn't it? Okay, so the equation is going to be a y equal 2, because we have Hoy, and that O stands for 0, doesn't it? The slope is 0. Fun, fun, fun. You have just completed your STAR review. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Keep doing these every week and you will excel on your STAR test this year. Remember, you are amazing. You are created to do wonderful things and you are awesome.